Welcome to Unblocked, the speaker series. Today it is all about buying crypto 101, and we are joined by Cindy Chiang. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Context for everybody. We are going to be talking about Cindy's experience and the amazing research she's done as she started to learn about crypto and been on this journey. As with anything financial, this is not financial advice. You got to do your own research. But I'm super excited, Cindy, to hear about your experience with crypto. So how did you get to this place?
My pedigree is actually in supply chain and logistics. So that's what I went to school for. And I've been doing program management for about 13 years for hardware, and then I moved to software. So once I started learning about blockchain, I realized that it's actually really applicable, at least for that field. And so I got really excited about it.
How would you describe cryptocurrency to someone who came from 1990, right? Lands in this moment in like 2021.
Basically what a blockchain is, it's a history of transactions. So it's a historical ledger. You send me money, there's like a line item. And the two of you will send money to each other, there's a line item. And so what happens is, like, every time we make a transaction and a line item happens, it'll cost us just a little bit of money, a little transaction fee. That's to the network to pay for, posting this to the ledger. Then at the end of that list of transactions, there's a mathematical equation that needs to be solved in order to close this block and start a new one. And that technology kind of helps with the efficiency of, like, continuous transactions and historical validation and everything. And so in order to close it out, you need to solve this mathematical equation. It takes some like massive computing power to figure that out. I mean, it's
okay, good. I was like, am I supposed to know the answer to that? So I'm really glad that you just said it takes massive computing power.
You close that block with that answer, and automatically will create, pull the last transaction from the previous block into the new block, and then add another line item, and then that starts the new block. And that's why it's called a blockchain, because it's connected from to the previous block. If we think about actual wire transfers from country to country, it's a really archaic system. And it takes like 3 to 5 days to wire money. And even though we don't see the actual process, it's actually going through like maybe 5 different entities in order to get it to the right currency at its destination. And what cryptocurrency, what blockchain technology can do for us is actually make that instantaneous. And so that, to me, is kind of what cryptocurrency is it's changing a lot of the ways that money moves and works in our society.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like that's a very supply chain answer too, which I like, because so many people think about like, oh, it's like digital currency, but it's actually so much more about the systems that underlie it and what they facilitate, which is important to remember.
If we talk about like, oh, like institutions are buying up Bitcoin and they're going to own the market, of course, but the stock market is completely manipulated by institutions, and that's going to be a part of reality. So why not, capitalize on the marketplace now that we have access as individuals? Like, we can actually capitalize on the situation and not put our entire future on institutions that only give us like 0.1% on our savings accounts. So that's what decentralized finance is to me now, is like, basically we're taking all the power away from all the banks who used to have all the centralized amount of money, and we're putting it into the power of the people to support each other.
I love that.
You can have, quite a bit amount of coins, and you can stake it into a network, and people can borrow money from you through a system.
Interesting. So we're all becoming kind of our own little banks.
Exactly. Yeah,
amazing.
Funding others' interests.
For me, I know one of the basic questions I had was, where do I put this stuff? Like, how do I purchase it? And started to learn a little bit more about wallets. So what is a crypto wallet, and what's the easiest way for somebody to get their first one?
Actually, a physical wallet. It is the representation of a wallet, and it actually doesn't, store cards like a credit card.
It's almost more like an account. Is it more like a savings or checking account versus then a like wallet, like you said, with like a bunch of different cards?
Yeah, you can definitely look at it that way. Sign into your account, and then you can see all the different ones that you've held in there.
Yeah.
And each one has a different backing technology. So like if you have
Okay.
Ethereum, that's on the Ethereum blockchain, and Bitcoin, your address is on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay. And what is the easiest way for somebody who's brand new to get their first crypto wallet? And do you need more than one, or can you just have one?
You don't even need to have your own wallet. If you go to an exchange, which is the quickest way to buy coins, something like Coinbase, they have different wallet addresses for these different coins that they're allowing you to purchase. And what that means is that like when you buy a coin from them, you're actually just creating like a sub account, like a memo under their wallet address to say that your profile owns these many coins, but you in no way actually own custody of those coins.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why software wallets and hardware wallets come into play.
Was that like one way to think about centralized exchanges can get you started, but then you also might want to have your own separate wallet on a different platform, or even a hardware wallet that means you actually have your coins?
A hardware wallet is just code that can create those wallet addresses on different blockchains. And so that's what it's doing for you when you say, I want to move my Ethereum into, this ledger, which is a hardware wallet. It actually you can download the software to create the address, and then that address becomes yours. The biggest risk of keeping it on a centralized exchange is that if they get hacked, you can lose your coins, and they're not backed and insured. So you would just lose it.
Oh,
and that's a big
pretty big one.
Yeah. Like they offer you the ease of, trading much faster by keeping it on a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
So what I do is, I'll have like a batch of coins that like I deem like are going to be fluid for me. I want to like trade in and out of them. Things like Stellar that has like really low fees for transferring. I keep that kind of available for me to move from exchange to exchange. For other things like my long-term, I call them bags, the bags of coins.
Yeah.
I get a hardware wallet to hold them because I know I'm not going to touch them for quite some time.
I see. So it's really about like, what do you want to do with them too? If you want to be like day trading and swapping around, it helps to have it like the user experience of the technology that's like really built out. What is the difference between something like Bitcoin? I mean, obviously it's really well known. I feel like it's the largest cryptocurrency, but then you hear about these new ones every day. Are they exactly the same thing, just with a different name and like provenance, or are they totally different?
Equate to Bitcoin as like digital gold.
Mm.
There is a finite supply. I think the max supply ever out there was like 24 billion or something. Dogecoin is like 100 billion plus. Wow. So the thing about Dogecoin is that there's no cap on the amount of supply that it has. So the value of the coin will fluctuate dramatically. But if someone was going to come in and be like, oh, I want to invest in something, I don't really like a lot of risk. What do I do? Ethereum is probably a really good project to look into. They're going to be around for a really long time. They have one of the biggest developer groups, which is what I look for when I look for new currencies to invest in, is like, how does the community look? And the first thing would be like, go to their website. It looks like people are behind it and like are actually trying to care about it.
Right.
Information, going to YouTube, trying to see, because everyone else is already trying to investigate it. What do other people say about it? Take it with a grain of salt, do your own research. Don't believe everything you see and hear, but absorb multiple perspectives and then decide, is this something worth deeper investigation, or is this something that's just like people are just shilling it out to me and trying to make money?
And what's been your perspective as a woman trying to learn about all of this? Obviously, you're in Unblocked. We're so happy to have you here. It was great to talk to you when we were kind of starting to think about what this could be. What's been your journey trying to kind of enter these spaces and do this research as a woman? Has it affected it at all?
Yeah, it definitely has. It's pretty male dominated out there, and that just made me realize even more how important it is to foster a safe community for women, is to talk, because like it's so intimidating.
Yeah,
all these men are just talking deep in the world of technology that like it's hard to bring someone in, right? But we don't need to get that deep into it. Like if we
Mhm.
want more people to come with us, we have to be able to talk and actually explain it in, very simple, understandable terms. It's actually really not that hard to understand. It just takes maybe, just a few minutes, like having a conversation like this. You don't need to know everything. Like it's so new. No one is an
Yeah.
expert in this field right now. I found myself, even though I was able to keep up, still getting mansplained things.
Oh,
Like there was never like checking in to see how far you are in your journey, but it was just assuming there was lack of knowledge, and
right.
that was quite frustrating. So that's kind of what I've set out to do too, is taking women in one by one, and we go through, answer all the questions, have them kind of go on their own journeys.
And you've been such a great, I mean, just for me personally, I feel like I've asked you a few questions and just appreciated your thoughtful answers so much, or like pointing me in one direction or the other. And I think just having you and Unblocked as a resource for people is so fantastic. So thank you.